For years, you tracked gaps in the official migration model. In 2015, a Harvard team confirmed an Australasian genetic signal in Amazonian DNA. The signal spans continents and millennia. Approximately 2% ancestry was detected. The data are hard numbers and peer-reviewed. The pattern matched what your data-driven mind demanded. You suspected Beringia was not the whole story. Here is the evidence you were waiting for. What was missed, and how deep does the evidence run? You suspected missing ancestry in Amazonian genomes. The data confirms your suspicion. Pontus Skoglund worked in a Harvard lab. He reviewed genomic data from Native American groups. 30 groups were screened. 21 groups came from Central and South America. The DNA revealed a surprising pattern. In the Surui and Karatiana peoples, a distinct signal appeared. The signal did not match typical Eurasian ancestry. The markers also matched Australians, Papua New Guineans, and Andaman Islanders. The evidence was unmistakable. The data showed alleles absent under a pure Beringian model. Skoglund tested for contamination. The results remained confirmed. He repeated analysis with 9 additional Brazilian groups. The signal persisted across all tests. The team named the pattern the Y signal. The name derives from the Tupi word Ipicuera, meaning ancestor. The signal was not background noise. It was a distinct trace present only in specific Amazonian groups. The findings were published in Nature. The study was peer-reviewed and replicated. The Y signal stood up to every test. In isolated Amazonian genomes, the evidence shows an Australasian connection. The standard migration story did not account for this. The data demanded a new explanation. The Y signal now defines the Australasian link. It forces a closer look at the numbers and the model. 2% of the DNA in Surui, Karitiana, and Shavante individuals traces to Australasian ancestors. This is not an estimate based on a handful of samples. In 2021, researchers at University of Sao Paulo tested 383 individuals from across South America. Their DNA was compared against 200 global reference populations. The Y signal remained across every statistical model and every replication. The numbers were not marginal. Z-scores ranged from 3.0 to 4.6. Values were well above the accepted significance threshold in population genetics. These results were published in PNAS, peer-reviewed, and have not been contradicted. The signal does not appear in any tested populations from North or Central America. It is not present in the Clovis genome or ancient northern DNA. Only these South American groups show detectable Australasian component levels. The pattern is precise. The data is consistent. The Y signal is real, confirmed, and quantifiable. No statistical drift, contamination, or sampling error explains its persistence. The numbers rule out coincidence. The evidence stands on its own. With the signal validated, the question becomes how it arrived in the Amazon. The answer lies in migration routes followed by the first Americans. Between 15,000 and 8,000 years ago, a group carrying Australasian ancestry entered Alaska. They used the Beringia land bridge to move from Asia. They did not pause for millennia in the north. Instead, they moved quickly along the Pacific coastline. Coastal sites in Peru, like Chotuna, show early settlement patterns. DNA from modern Chotuna individuals confirmed the same Y signal found in the Amazon. The coastal route bypassed the interior and avoided ice sheets blocking inland passage. That explains why the Y signal is strong in South America, and why it is absent in North and Central America. The migration followed a west to east path along the Pacific shore. Then groups turned inland toward the Amazon basin and central Brazilian plateau. The Surui, Karitiana, and Shavante trace their Australasian signal to this journey. Genetic data fit the timeline of coastal arrivals in Peru first. Later, the signal spread eastward into the Amazon and plateau. Best fit models published in PNAS 2021 used 383 individuals. They compared them to 200 global populations to confirm the sequence. David Reich described the event as one of the most intriguing human histories. The evidence shows a rapid expansion, not a slow drift. Isolation in the Amazon preserved the Y signal, drift and mixing elsewhere erased it. This route completes the geographic pattern. Genetic markers move from the Pacific coast through rainforest into central Brazil. The pattern is visible in the data, confirmed by peer-reviewed studies. It fits the migration models you already know. Anthropologists in Brazil and Colombia measured ancient skulls for decades. The data showed broad faces, low foreheads, and robust jaws. These traits matched populations in Australia and Melanesia more than Northern Asia or North America. For years, the findings were dismissed as environmental adaptation. The prevailing view held that early Americans shared a single Siberian ancestry. It claimed physical differences arose after arrival. Genetic results changed that discussion. The Y signal confirmed approximately 2% Australasian ancestry in Surui, Caritiana, and Chavante. The skull measurements could no longer be explained as local adaptation. Peer-reviewed studies in Nature and PNAS provided a genetic anchor for the bones. Lagoa Santa remains date to about 10,400 years before present. They display cranial features not seen in Clovis-associated skeletons of North America. Walter Neves and colleagues cataloged these features using multivariate analysis and three-dimensional morphometrics. The affinities to Australasians stood out. They lacked a genetic explanation until the Y signal was documented. Ancient skull morphology now aligns with modern DNA patterns. Populations with Australasian genetic markers also show Australasian-like skeletal traits. This is not isolated coincidence. It reflects convergence of physical anthropology and genomics. Each line of evidence confirms the other. The pattern appears in both bones and DNA. The model is complete. Ancient migration, preserved ancestry, and physical traits point to the same story. The Australasian genetic signal appears only in South America. No trace appears in North or Central American groups, ancient or modern. Direct testing confirmed this absence. Researchers proposed two evidence-based explanations. First, rapid movement along the Pacific coast. Migrants carrying the Y signal bypassed the north. They had limited contact and mixing. Second, loss through genetic drift during European colonization. In small, isolated populations, rare ancestry can vanish. South America's rainforest and plateau groups stayed isolated. They preserved the Y signal. North and central groups faced repeated migrations and disruption. They lost the signal entirely. The absence is not a data gap. It is a pattern explained by population history. The data account for presence and absence. The distribution is logical, not random. The pattern holds under every test. Sampling continues, and evidence remains consistent. In 2021, the dataset expanded. Tabitha Hunemeyer and her team at Sao Paulo University tested 383 individuals. They were from across South America. The Y signal appeared in Chotuna on the Pacific coast. It also appeared in the Guarani Kiowa of central Brazil. The pattern held. Approximately 2% Australasian ancestry was confirmed by comparison to 200 global populations. The results were published in PNAS and were peer-reviewed. They left no room for doubt. Two separate ancestral streams shaped the first South Americans. Hunemeyer said genetics unravels unrecorded histories. The evidence was replicated, extended, and mapped from coast to plateau. The Australasian connection is real. Present in coastal and inland groups, it is fully supported by the data. The pattern you recognized is complete. Today, Peer-reviewed data rewrites what ancestry means for science and for identity. As genomic evidence expands, models must match complexity, not comfort. The story is not closed, it is recalibrated. Evidence continues to redraw boundaries we once treated as settled. Pattern complete, but the questions keep moving. Share your insights below.